will. A month of pure horror. Pure terror captured on celluloid and singed in the very fabric of your psyche. Like Uncle Leroy's cigarette burn. Prepare yourself for a Lovecraftian nightmare full of writhing tentacles and unwanted butt stuff. First spot in the day such as this, Nate came to get you, Andrew.
Me?
Yeah, Andrew, they're coming for you. They're gonna fucking rape you and eat your children because you're a fucking douche.
I'm mourning my dead mother, for Christ's sake.
Good. Fuck her. Together we will travel through these cosmic terrors. We'll navigate through the cold indifference of the universe and document the experience like blind cartographers. Your sanity will be tested by what you'll see. I'm talking about the kind of horror brought on by a vestigial dick on a Filipino prostitute. The kind of shame and terror that comes when you're like, Nancy, the fuck? Think you'd mention you're rocking a chandelier beat down there. The kind of unfathomable sorrow when you don't get a call back, even though you both had an agreeably very nice weekend together. Seriously though, Nancy, call me. This is 31 Days of Horror.
It's 31 Days of Horror, Phase 1, Days 1 through 11, motherfuckers. Today, we will be drinking California Ace Pumpkin Hard Cider out of a Erlenmeyer flask. Getting real, Walter White up in this bit. Oh! Now, I still need some fucking suggestions for new movies, so do it. Throw that, like, leave a comment. I don't know why this needs to be explained. I thought I was clear. I thought you knew what you were supposed to do, Andrew.
What do I do?
Fucking leave a comment with the move! I am so glad that your mother's dead. I hope it was awful. Now, let's get to some horror movies, people. I'm forewarning you now. Spoilers throughout. Unless otherwise specified, I will be spoiling these movies. We're getting into all kinds of shit. Let's get down with day one.
Demons. God damn, this movie's fun. Demons is an Italian giallo from the disturbed mind that brought you Suspiria. This film gave us an early taste of meta style in 1985 by having the bulk of the plot happen inside of a movie theater. Tonight is the premiere of the newest horror movie. Everyone revels in the gore on screen as one of the theatergoers turns into a demon in the bathroom. She then comes out and begins to attack the other theater patrons. It's at this point that all hell breaks loose as demons run rampant, slashing and maiming everyone in sight. It's a great concept that's pushed to the absolute extreme. The practical effects are delightfully cheesy and immensely disgusting. The film is able to conjure up some truly horrific imagery. We also get to see one of the single greatest and most flagrant use of a deus ex machina in any film.
We gotta get out of here. Get out! Everybody get away! Get out!
Overall, this movie is gory, goofy, glorious fun. I would highly recommend it as a lighter pick from the giallo genre.
They ain't gonna get me. That's for sure. Shit.
Lake Mungo is a film that stays with you. That's honestly the best way I can describe it. I've never been affected by a movie quite like this one. Now, I personally hold this up as one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. Not scary in an ostentatious way, it's a more subtle, unnerving scary. A quiet dread that you will be unable to shake. The film is shot in documentary style and stays intensely true to that format. This movie is so grounded in its execution that if you were to tell someone it was a real documentary, there's a distinct possibility that they would believe you.
Well, it's basically the same shot, but it would appear that Alice is standing against the fence.
Do you remember what the reaction in the house was at the time?
I wouldn't say the mood was good.
Lake Mungo follows a family grieving the loss of their daughter and the supernatural occurrences that follow her death. Apart from that, I'm not saying a damn thing. This is a movie that should be gone into blind and demands a second viewing.
I usually videotape my sessions. Something was happening inside that house and I wanted to find out what it was.
We checked the tapes.
There was a ghost in our house.
Alice kept secrets. She kept the fact she kept secrets a secret.
Something bad is going to happen to me.
Alice knew she was going to die.
If you can appreciate a slow burn, and if you can find this fucking movie, then you are in for one of the best horror films in a long time.
They were running for their lives. What happened to them is an experience in terror you will never forget, and you will believe in the Amityville Horror.
My God, it's been so long. To think of all the poor people that have lost their lives here. The legacy that it's left. The hauntings. The film deals. The abs on fucking Ryan Reynolds. I mean, goddamn. Makes you think. Makes you hungry. Man, I could really go for some Mac Nuggets.
Hi, welcome to my room. I'll take your order.
Hi, can I have a 40-piece chicken Mac Nugget?
How many?
40.
40-piece chicken nugget, okay.
Also a Big Mac, just a sandwich.
Barbecue sauce?
What? Thank you very much. I shot a whole fucking family. Some houses have memories, and several shitty sequels. The Amityville Horror. You know, it's funny that I never saw this original film. Growing up on Long Island, you'd think it would, like, come with the territory. You'd think it'd come out of the womb and they'd be like, here's a bagel and an Arizona green tea, a bacon, egg, and cheese, and a copy of the original Amityville Horror on DVD. And you'd be like, I would like a Blu-ray. And they'd be like, no, we're not going to give you that. So how does this movie hold up? It's the oldest entry on my list so far. Surprisingly well. I mean, listen, the reality is it doesn't really hold a candle to a lot of the stuff that's come out. It's difficult when you're like one of the originators for us to go back and watch that and put yourself in that mind space. One of the things that really impressed me with the film is its sound design is shockingly good. There's this one scene in particular that I thought was incredibly effective. It's a scene where the priest is in the room and there's the flies and everything and this noise is deafening and then silence. Total fucking silence. And that silence is the scariest thing in that entire scene. It is so unnerving and jarring. It just comes out of nowhere. And I think that's really masterful. Like, you just don't see those kinds of scares anymore. Usually it's the fucking jump scares, which make me want to just hurt everyone around me, even people that I like. It's just nonsense. Jump scares are not scares. They're just startling you. And I'm sorry, I'm going to go on a rant, so I'm going to just stop there and make a whole video dedicated on why jump scares are bullshit, even though Citizen Kane did the first jump scare ever. So Josh Brolin's dad and his glorious hair just moved into this new house with his new wife and his stepkids, and you know, right off the bat, they know what happened. It's not like anyone's getting the wool pulled over their eyes. It's not like the wife doesn't know, but the husband does, which is a little bit of a trope now. Everyone's on the level of, oh yeah, whole family got murdered as shit in this house. So that's one thing that's avoided and kind of interesting. Like, they go in knowing exactly what happened. Also, side note, not to get all true crime in everybody, but how did this guy shoot every single one of his family members and nobody woke up? That's neither here nor there. So overall, I gotta be honest, the movie, it's a bit on the boring side. There is some masterful craftsmanship there in terms of the audio design. And, you know, I do have to give the movie props for originating some of these things in terms of the haunted house movie. But a lot of it just felt like been there, done that. I would say that for legacy's sake, you should probably give this one a watch. But I wouldn't hold your breath in terms of being scared. You're probably not going to be scared at all, but it's still a pretty well-crafted movie. Also, goddamn, Margot Kidder.
The Invitation. Don't watch the trailer. Don't even watch this section of my video if you have any interest in watching this movie. I went into The Invitation blind, and I believe that is the best way to view this film. I think the trailer spoils far too much of the third act. While attending a dinner party at his former home, a man feels his ex-wife and new husband have sinister intentions for their guests. The best way I can describe this film is a series of conversations at a dinner party that get progressively more intense and uncomfortable. The movie is a brilliant exercise in dread. The tension that they cultivate in what should be a fun occasion is astonishing. The sense of discomfort the soundtrack is able to impart on us as viewers is precisely how the main character must feel.
Where's Joy?
Excuse me?
Where's Joy? I mean, where the fuck is Joy?
What are you talking about, Will?
I just got a message from him. He said he was here, that he had gotten here at 7.
What?
He said he was here.
Eden, is that true?
I haven't seen Troy tonight.
Edie, where is he?
Well, please,
No. I just got a message from him. He said he was here. He made the call from right outside.
We haven't seen him.
Don't fucking lie to me. He called from right outside your front door.
David is not lying to you.
Do yourself a favor, go into this one blind and have no reservations.
Woo! Fucking pun, kind of.
I grew up loving The Nightmare Before Christmas, so when I saw another stop-motion movie with horror elements in it, I got really excited. Norman Babcock, a misunderstood boy with the ability to speak to the dead, takes on ghosts, zombies, and grown-ups to save his town from a centuries-old curse. But when I was initially watching the film, I had no idea that this would be one of the most mature and genuine stories I had ever seen in a kid's film. Honestly, this isn't even a kid's film. This is a film that happens to follow kids. This thing is gorgeous. The tactile sense you get from the clay models is just, it's amazing. There's true craftsmanship in this film.
Yeah, good to see you. How you doing? Hi, Mrs. Hardman. You look nice today. I like what you've done with your hair. Does anyone smell burning?
Hey, peace, man.
Totally.
As you were, soldier.
Sorry, yes, Yes, sir.
Yo, Norman. You playing hooky?
No. I'm just late for school. Sorry, I gotta go. How you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Hi. How's it hanging?
Oh, haven't heard that one before. Well, it's a nice day.
This high level of artistry is not relegated to the film's looks, though. Paranorman isn't afraid to deal with heavy topics like mob mentality, being an outcast, even child murder. Yeah, fucking child murder. And it does all this in a truly clever way. Our heroes are so likable and we love them so much, so when they are put in genuine danger, the stakes feel so real. Paranorman is a modern classic with more heart than the average film. And that's why I watch it every Halloween. Also, zombies. Fucking zombies, yo.
When there is no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
We are down to the line, folks. We are down to the line.
Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead, 1978. So I'm quite torn on this film. Its legacy is undeniable, but looking at it through the lens of modern day filmmaking, does it hold up? Honestly, yes and no. I love zombies. I adore George Romero's Dead franchise. Dawn of the Dead takes the accidental social commentary that set Night apart from its peers and runs with it. Seeing what Romero can accomplish when he's intentionally putting social commentary into his films is fantastic. The movie has a very meandering sensibility. It shuffles around not unlike the titular Dead. When I watch the film, and it should be noted that I watched the extended cut, I can't help but feel that about 40 minutes could easily be cut, making it a tighter experience. But on the other hand, I can't help but feel as though that might rob the film of something unique. There's a certain monotony that we see in Dawn that I think is integral to the juxtaposition. The world might have ended, but shit still needs to get done. We see them fortify the mall, get supplies, and just live day to day.
We're in! Now how the hell are we gonna get back? Who the hell cares? Let's go shopping first! Watch it! Watch it!
Hey! Let's get the stuff we need. I'll get a television and a radio.
Oh, lighter fluid! Chocolate!
Okay.
Oh, how many we come?
There's something profoundly upsetting about how seeing, even in times of unimaginable crisis, life goes on. The film also contains what might be the greatest zombie performance in any zombie movie. It's a damn shame that this film is pretty much unviewable in HD. Rights issues have made it almost impossible to legally acquire in that format. Also, holy shit, is that the dad from Kenan and Kel? Oh my god! I now have to pay royalties to Rich Evans from Red Letter Media. I apologize for stealing your thing. That was rude of me to do. Rest in peace, George. You are a great man. It was awesome to meet you once. And thank you for bringing the dead to life.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
Daybreakers. Holy high concept movie, Batman! Daybreakers immediately sets itself apart from the plethora of vampire movies out there by having a truly unique concept. Here we have a world where vampires have won and humans are on the run. We get to explore the implications of a world where human blood has become a vital resource, one that's running out. I love the production design of the film. It's like the vampire equivalent of what Zootopia accomplished. The world feels very real. All the changes made to society for vampires feels practical. The way the movie goes about establishing its lore is simple but effective. It's the year 2019. 5% of the population is human, leaving 95% as motherfucking vampires. Vampires have fully taken control of everything at this point. However, this was clearly not a well thought out plan. Their food supply, human blood, is dwindling fast. Ethan Hawke plays Edward Dalton, a vampire hematologist that's working on an alternative to human blood. See, when vampires run out of blood, bad things start to happen to them. They don't just starve to death. They mutate and turn into disgusting creatures. Edward teams up with a band of humans, being that they both have a common goal. What I love about this movie is the fact that not everybody who's a vampire is bad. It's not as black and white as that. There's several different shades of gray. Edward might be a vampire, but he's far more human than his counterparts. He's very sympathetic to the plight of humans. I mean, he was one. I'm also having difficulty reconciling the fact that his name's Edward. That piece of shit fucking Twilight series ruined vampires named Edward forever, which is a very specific thing to ruin, I know, but goddamn it, they did it. It's nice to see a certain level of complexity portrayed with the human-vampire relationship. Some people are not a fan of the way this movie ends. I personally think it's very clever, creating a reverse virus that ends up turning vampires into humans when they try to feed on a human. Like, that's kind of clever, and that's the one way that they can win. Just simple math. There's no way the humans aren't going to eventually win with this. Some of the scenes at the end when they're just feeding on everyone, you just see the desperation in the vampires when they run out of human blood. It's just fucking awesome. Toss in some brutal gore and some excellent performances from the likes of Ethan Hawke and Willem Dafoe, and you've got one hell of a unique vampire movie.
Yeah, all right, well, if I believe that, I have to drive a stake through my heart right now.
You should never have come here!
The Hallow. A family that moved into a remote mill house in Ireland finds themselves in a fight for survival with demonic creatures living in the woods. So The Hallow was both a first-time watch and a blind watch for me. I never saw a trailer for anything. All I ever really saw was the poster on Netflix, and I didn't even ever really read that little blurb that pops up. So I went into this not knowing anything about it, which I feel like was a good way to go about it. One of the things that I really enjoyed about The Hallow was the way it goes about blending different subgenres of horror. You have this family who is fighting for survival in a single location, which is this cabin in the woods. So there's a little bit of the whole cabin in the woods element. You've got this element of the outsiders trying to get in. You throw in a little bit of monster movie and actually a little bit of body horror, which I did not see coming. It's really great to see a certain level of practical effects being used in this movie. The monster designs were pretty cool, and the body horror elements were really quite disgusting and unnerving. This was a movie that I genuinely didn't know what direction it was gonna go in. It kept me guessing, which is really refreshing these days. Once again, we got Benny Stark kicking some monster-esque Game of Thrones references. So is this movie amazing? I don't know if I'd say that. It's definitely very serviceable. I would say watch it. Why not? It's on Netflix. You know, it's got a little bit of everything. It's got kind of a jack of all trades, master of none thing going on. And that's not necessarily an insult. It's fun. It's a good watch. I would say give it a shot.
Time to go to sleep.
Evil Dead, 2013. I was vehemently against this movie when they announced it. I try to be open-minded, but I feel like this was making some terrible choices. I remember being furious that the lead character's name was Mia. Why not just have her be Ash? The name's unisex. I know it seems silly, but I hold these films very close to my shriveled black heart. When that first trailer dropped, I promptly shut the fuck up. The trailer promised an unflinching version in the vein of the original film, and holy fucking shit did it deliver. Mia is brought to a remote cabin in the woods by her older brother and a handful of friends. Their reason for going there is to help her kick her drug habit. It's a nice change of pace from the typical go to a cabin in the woods to party and get drunk and have sex theme that we've seen so many times. I'm looking at you, Friday the 13th. I love that when this movie came out, people were saying that it was ripping off Cabin in the Woods. That is so broken on so many levels. It's great that they don't trust her because she's going through withdrawal. When she warns them that she wants to leave and she needs to get out of there, they just think she's full of shit and she's trying to get out of her responsibilities. The movie's utterly uncompromised in its mission statement to be the most horrific film you'll ever experience. It pulled no punches with its depiction of demonic possession by ancient Kandarian demons, which is not a sentence I ever thought I'd have to say out loud, but there it is. I hold this up as one of the best horror remakes ever made. It gives the group a great reason for being in the woods and a smart excuse not to trust Mia. I'll be doing an in-depth review in this film very soon because I have a lot more to say that I can't fit on this list. If you want to see some seriously brutal shit, watch this movie. You won't be disappointed.
Don't do it, you little bitch! Don't cut it off!
Fuck you!
Days of Night. High-concept vampire movies seem to be a running theme on my list this year. After an Alaskan town is plunged into darkness for a month, it is attacked by a bloodthirsty gang of vampires. It's a concept that's so brilliantly simple, I'm amazed it hasn't been tapped already. 30 Days of Night succeeds at doing something very difficult in modern-day horror. It made vampires genuinely scary again. It immediately separates itself from other vampire movies by having these creatures be truly monstrous. There is nothing sexy about these guys. They also don't fucking sparkle. They have black eyes, shark teeth, and are as alien to us as they can be. The choice to have them not even speak English puts them that much farther away from being human. It's these little choices that result in a truly terrifying monster. You really get a sense of desperation from the human characters here. Their situation is so dire, you can't help but think about what you would do if you were in their position. I absolutely love 30 Days of Night. The amount of time that they spend hiding and lurking around, surviving, and just how vicious these vampires are. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. The vampires don't want anyone to turn. This is strictly a feeding frenzy thing. They're not trying to recruit anyone. So they decapitate every single person that they feed on. It's just an extra little thing that they add on that makes them that much more brutal, that much more creepy. I remember when this movie came out, I used to read Fangoria magazine because I was always into special effects. That's actually how I got started with movies and stuff. There was somebody whose dedicated job was blood continuity for the vampires because they are just covered in blood. Like, they are not neat about it. Honestly, they're probably wasting a good amount. If they were a little more tactful, they probably wouldn't have to eat quite as many humans, but, you know, whatever. The vampires, they do them. I don't judge. I try not to judge. It's 2017, you know, they self-identify as, creatures in the night. Safe space. I also love the sacrifice that Josh Hartnett makes in this movie. The fact that he sees the only way to truly beat them is to become one of them. It's just great, and he's able to hold on to his humanity until the very end, and he knows that it's a death sentence. It's really, it's awesome. It's a cool self-sacrifice moment. I very much enjoyed it. If you're ready for a harrowing tale of survival against a vampire horde, then this is the pick for you. The fuck did I just watch? I'll be upfront about the fact that I'm not the most well-versed in Japanese horror. That being said, I very much doubt this film is a barometer for the genre. I'm not sure if this is the most eloquent way to state this, but this movie is totally fucking bonkers. There is some next-level culture shock here. The imagery in this movie is just insane. Like, what the actual fuck is going on here? A woman gets eaten by a piano, there's a severed head that bites a woman's ass, this woman's dancing with a skeleton. What the fuck is this? So House is about a schoolgirl and 6 of her classmates that travel to her aunt's house in the country, which tries to devour the girls in bizarre ways, I guess? I mean, they go to visit this girl's aunt, and she's, something's up with her? Something weird's going on? I don't really know. You know, they do their best to, like, give all these girls distinct personalities. There's piano girl, there's pretty girl, there's kung fu girl, there's girl who gets ass bitten by head. I'm sorry, I just can't move past the severed head biting the chick's ass. The fuck is that about? This movie borderlines on incomprehensible for various reasons, but goddamn if it isn't fascinating to watch. I mean, it's even listed online as a comedy horror, which a movie admittedly does not take itself seriously at all. I mean, I don't see how it possibly could. Just sit down and be ready for a weird Japanese acid trip of a movie. And that is it for Phase 1. Days 1 through 11 of 31 Days of Horror. Please, internet peoples, don't hesitate to get on down there. Let me know how awful it is and how it's taking too long to come out and how I should really, you know, give this up already and move on and just abandon all my dreams. Oh, that's sadness. Bonus points if anybody noticed that the severed head directly next to me is actually my own severed head.
I noticed it.
Nobody cares what you noticed, Andrew, you fucking asshole! Good night, spoops and spirits. Stay spooky out there and stay safe. Man, no one in the movie industry has gotten head like this since Harvey Fierstein, am I right? We know what you did, Kevin Pollak from Usual Suspects, you fuck!